Surah 13. Ar-Rad. Context. Period of revelation. The internal evidence.
Verses 27 to 31, and verses 34 to 48.
Shows that this surah was revealed in the last stage of the mission of the Prophet at Mecca, and during the same period in which Surah 7, Al-A'raf, Surah 10, Yunus, and Surah 11, Hud, were sent down. On the one hand, the Prophet's opponents had been scheming different devices to defeat him and his mission, and on the other, his followers had been expressing a desire that by showing a miracle, the disbelievers might be brought to the right way. In answer, God impressed on the believers that it is not His way to revert people by this method, and that they should not lose heart if He is giving the enemies of the truth a rope long enough to hang themselves. Otherwise, He is able to show such signs as may bring the dead out of their graves, and make them speak.
Verse 31.
But even then, these obdurate people will invent an excuse to explain this away. All this decisive evidence clearly proves that this surah was revealed during the last stage of the Prophet's mission at Mecca. The central theme. The first verse enunciates the main theme of this surah. That is, the message of Muhammad is the very truth, but it is the fault of the people that they are rejecting it. This is the pivot on which the whole surah turns. This is why it has been shown, over and over again in different ways, that the basic components of the message, monotheism,
Tawheed,
resurrection and prophethood are a reality. Therefore, they should believe sincerely in these, for their own moral and spiritual good. They have been warned that they shall incur their own ruin if they reject them, for disbelief, kufr, by itself, is sheer folly and ignorance. Moreover, the aim of the surah is not merely to satisfy the minds, but also to appeal to the hearts, to accept the faith. Therefore, it does not merely put forward logical arguments in support of the truth of the message, and against the people's wrong notions, but at appropriate intervals, it makes frequent use of sympathetic and earnest appeals to win over their hearts, by warning them of the consequences of disbelief, and by holding out the happy rewards of faith, so that the foolish people should give up their stubbornness. Besides this, the objections of the opponents have been answered, without any mention of them, and those doubts which are proving a hindrance in the way of the message, or were being created by the opponents, have been removed. At the same time, the believers, who had been passing through a long and hard ordeal, and were feeling tired, and waiting anxiously for God's assistance, have been comforted and filled with hope and courage. Surah 13. Ar-Rad. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Alif, Lam, Mim, Ra. These are the verses of the book, and what has been revealed to you from your Lord is the truth, but most of the people do not believe. It is God who erected the heavens, without pillars, that you can see, then He established Himself above the throne, and made subject the sun, and the moon, each running its course, for a specified term. He arranges each matter, He details the signs that you may, of a meeting, with your Lord, be certain. And it is He who spread the earth, and placed therein, firmly set mountains, and rivers, and from all of the fruits, He made therein two mates. He causes the night to cover the day. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who give thought. And within the land are neighboring plots, and gardens, of grapevines and crops, and palm trees, growing several, from a root, or otherwise watered, with one water. But we make some of them exceed others in quality of fruit. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who reason. And if you are astonished, O Muhammad, then astonishing is their saying, when we are dust, will we indeed be brought into a new creation? Those are the ones who have disbelieved in their Lord, and those will have shackles upon their necks, and those are the companions of the fire, they will abide therein, eternally. They want you to hasten the evil before the good, while there has already occurred, before them, similar punishments to what they demand, and indeed your Lord is full of forgiveness for the people, despite their wrongdoing, and indeed your Lord is severe in retribution. And those who disbelieve say, "Why has a sign not been sent down to him from his Lord?" You are only a warner, and for every people is a guide. God knows what every female carries, and what the wombs lose, prematurely, or exceed. And everything with him is by due measure. He is knower of the unseen, and the witnessed, the grand, the exalted. It is the same to him, concerning you, whether one conceals his speech, or one publicizes it, and whether one is hidden by night, or conspicuous among others by day. For him, each one are successive angels, before and behind him, who protect him, by the decree of God. Indeed God will not change the condition of a people, until they change what is in themselves. And when God intends for a people ill, there is no repelling it. And there is not for them, besides him, any patron. It is he, who shows you lightning, causing fear and aspiration, and generates the heavy clouds. And the thunder exalts God, with praise of him, and the angels as well, from fear of him, and he sends thunderbolts, and strikes therewith, whom he wills, while they dispute about God, and he is severe in assault. To him alone is the supplication of truth. And those they call upon, besides him, do not respond to them with a thing, except as one who stretches his hands toward water from afar, calling it to reach his mouth, but it will not reach it. Thus, and the supplication of the disbelievers is not but an error, futility. And to God prostrates whoever is within the heavens and the earth, willingly or by compulsion, and their shadows as well, in the mornings and the afternoons. Say, who is Lord of the heavens and the earth? Say, God. Say, have you then taken besides him allies, not possessing even for themselves any benefit or any harm? Say, is the blind equivalent to the seeing? Or is darkness equivalent to light? Or have they attributed to God partners, who created like his creation, so that the creation of each seemed similar to them? Say, God is the creator of all things, and he is the one, the prevailing. He sends down from the sky rain, and valleys flow according to their capacity, and the torrent carries a rising foam. And from that ore, which they heat in the fire, desiring adornments and utensils, is a foam like it. Thus God presents the example of truth and falsehood. As for the foam, it vanishes, being cast off. But as for that which benefits the people, it remains on the earth. Thus does God present examples. For those who have responded to their Lord is the best reward. But those who did not respond to him, if they had all that is in the earth entirely, and the like of it, with it, they would attempt to ransom themselves thereby. Those will have the worst account, and their refuge is hell, and wretched is the resting place. Then is he, who knows that what has been revealed to you, from your Lord, is the truth, like one who is blind. They will only be reminded, who are people of understanding, those who fulfill the covenant of God, and do not break the contract, and those who join that which God has ordered to be joined, and fear their Lord, and are afraid of the evil of their account, and those who are patient, seeking the countenance of their Lord, and establish prayer, and spend from what we have provided for them, secretly and publicly, and prevent evil with good, theirs shall be the final abode. Gardens of perpetual residence, they will enter them, with whoever were righteous, among their fathers, their spouses, and their descendants. And the angels will enter upon them, from every gate, saying, Peace, security, be upon you, for what you patiently endured. And excellent is the final home. But those who break the covenant of God, after contracting it, and sever that which God has ordered to be joined, and spread corruption on earth, for them is the curse, and they will have the worst home, God extends provision, for whom He wills, and restricts it. And they rejoice in the worldly life, while the worldly life is not, compared to the hereafter, except brief enjoyment. And those who disbelieved, say, "Why has a sign not been sent down to him from his Lord?" Say, O Muhammad, indeed God leaves astray whom He wills, and guides to Himself whoever turns back to Him. Those who have believed, and whose hearts find peace in the remembrance of God. Surely it is in the remembrance of God that hearts find peace. Those who have believed, and done righteous deeds, a good state is theirs, and a good return. Thus have we sent you to a community, before which other communities have passed on, so you might recite to them that which we revealed to you, while they disbelieve in the Most Merciful. Say, He is my Lord, there is no deity except Him. Upon Him I rely, and to Him is my return. And if there were a Quran, by which the mountains would be moved, or the earth would be cleft asunder, or the dead would be spoken to, it would be this Quran, but to God belongs the affair entirely. Then have those who believed not accepted that had God willed, He would have guided the people, all of them? And those who disbelieve, do not cease to be struck for what they have done, by calamity, or it will descend near their home, until there comes the promise of God. Indeed God does not fail in His promise. And already were other messengers ridiculed before you, and I extended the time of those who disbelieved. Then I seized them, and how terrible was my retribution. Then is He, who is a maintainer of every soul, knowing what it has earned, like any other. But to God they have attributed partners. Say, name them. Or do you inform Him of that which He knows not, upon the earth, or of what is apparent and alleged of speech? Rather, their own plan has been made attractive to those who disbelieve, and they have been prevented from the way. And whomever God leaves astray, there will be for him no guide. For them will be punishment in the life of this world, and the punishment of the hereafter is more severe. And they will not have from God any protector. The example, description, of paradise, which the righteous have been promised, is that beneath it rivers flow. Its fruit is lasting, and its shade. That is the consequence for the righteous, and the consequence for the disbelievers is the fire. And the believers among those to whom we have given the previous book rejoice at what has been revealed to you, O Muhammad. But among the opposing factions are those who deny part of it, the Quran. Say, I have only been commanded to worship God, and not associate anything with Him. To Him I invite, and to Him is my return. And thus, we have revealed it, as an Arabic legislation. And if you should follow their inclinations, after what has come to you of knowledge, you would not have against God any ally, or any protector. And we have already sent messengers before you, and assigned to them wives and descendants. And it was not for a messenger to come with a sign, except by permission of God. For every term is a decree. God eliminates what He wills, or confirms, and with Him is the mother of the book. And whether we show you part of what we promise them, or take you in death, upon you is only the duty to convey, and upon us is the account. Have they not seen that we set upon the land, reducing it from its borders? And God decides, there is no adjuster of His decision. And He is swift in account. And those before them had plotted, but to God belongs the plan, entirely. He knows what every soul earns. And the disbelievers will know, for whom is the final home. And those who have disbelieved, say, you are not a messenger. Say, O Muhammad, sufficient is God, as witness between me and you, and the witness of whoever has knowledge of the book.